Book Summareez, The Double by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Welcome to Book Summareez, where we strip bare the world's darkest tales with raw nerve and a shudder of awe. Today we're sinking into The Double, a novella forged in 1846 by Fyodor Dostoevsky, a 27-year-old Russian scribbler clawing through poverty and genius in St. Petersburg's gloom. Imagine a city under Tsar Nicholas I, sodden streets, serfs breaking backs, clerks bowing to rank in a fog that strangles hope. Enter Yakov Petrovich Golyadkin, a ninth-ranked titular counselor with 750 rubles and a brittle "I'm all right." One damp morning he wakes to a day that'll shatter him. His own face, his double, steals his life piece by piece. This isn't a ghost story, it's a mind splitting at the seams. Dostoevsky wrote this in a rented flat, still buzzing from poor folks' praise. Critics sneered at the double, too odd, too jagged, but it's a raw root of existential dread sprouting into Kafka and Freud. St. Petersburg's alive here, a dank, gray beast of muddy canals and petty officials, its fog a shroud over Golyadkin's fragile pride. He's low in Russia's table of ranks, a paper pusher clinging to all right like a lifeline. We'll follow his spiral each moment, a shard of his breaking self, no brakes, just one relentless plunge. Settle in, this is a descent into a mirror's abyss. It's just before 8 a.m. on a muggy autumn dawn in 1840s St. Petersburg, and Yakov Petrovich Golyadkin stirs in his fourth-floor flat on Shestelavachny Street, a grim block squatting in the city's damp heart. He yawns, stretches, eyes peeling open after a long, restless sleep, teetering between dream and reality. His room glares back, dirty green walls smudged with smoke, a mahogany chest scarred by time, a red table chipped at the edges, a sofa in reddish American leather dotted with faded green flowers. Last night's clothes lie crumpled in a heap, tossed in haste. The window, grimy and streaked, frames a sour, foggy day, Petersburg's breath thick and unkind. He's awake now, no escaping this. He leaps from bed, darting to a small round mirror on the chest. Balding, sleepy-eyed, a face he calls insignificant, yet a grin flickers as he mutters, "What if a pimple spoils today? Tonight looms large, Alsofia Ivanovich's dinner, Clara Alsofievna's birthday, a chance to claw up from the ninth rank's muck. Everything's all right," he whispers, a mantra against the dread gnawing beneath. In Tsar Nicholas I's Russia, ninth rank is a spec titular counselor, a clerk drowning in forms unseen by the mighty. But he's got 750 rubles stashed in a shabby green pocketbook, hidden under yellowed papers and drawer clutter. He pulls it out, fingers trembling as he counts the notes, green, gray, blue, red, each one a pulse of glee, a shield against the void. He's splurged on a light blue carriage with a crest, new boots gleam on his feet, and Petrushka, his barefoot servant, wears a tattered green livery with frayed gold braid, absurd yet Golyadkin's pride. "Wear that lout," he snaps, peering into the courtyard where Petrushka gossips below. "Put it on," he barks, fussing over the livery, the carriage, the boots, 25 rubles. Petrushka grunts. Golyadkin dresses, trousers crisp, a flowered waistcoat bright, a gay cravat tied tight, coat brushed newish. He admires his boots, muttering, ignoring Petrushka's smirk. Out he strides, fog swallowing his nervous steps, a man armoring himself in props for a day he thinks he can master. Russia's a machine under Nicholas I, rank grinds the weak, serfs toil, clerks grovel. Dostoevsky, once a clerk himself, knew this trap, his own struggles bleeding into Golyadkin's fuss. That all right is a fragile dam. Psychologically, it's denial on a razor's edge, anxiety bubbling under every forced smile. Picture him, bald spot shining, boots clicking on wet stone, stepping into a city that chews up the small, fog-whispering threats he can't yet name. St. Petersburg's chill mirrors his inner quake. Every detail hums with tension, a fuse lit slow, burning toward chaos. The light blue carriage clatters down Nevsky Prospect, Golyadkin's mood a wild swing, glee one moment, terror the next. He rubs his hands splendid, then scans the crowd, shrinking when eyes linger too long. At Lightning Street, dread spikes two clerks from his office gate, pointing. "Unseemly," he hisses, ducking like a whipped dog. Then Andrei Filipovich, his section head, rolls by in a sleek droshky, staring wide-eyed. "Beau or not me," he stammers, tipping his hat, whispering, "I'm all right." Panic veers him off course. He orders the driver to Christian Ivanovich Rutenspitz's, a doctor he saw just last week, a desperate detour from the day's plan. He climbs to a 5-story house, second floor, a brass plate glints, Christian Ivanovich Rutenspitz, doctor of medicine and surgery. He rings, heart hammering, "My business," pauses, rings again. Christian's hale, a sturdy figure, gray whiskers frame a stern face, a cigar curls smoke, orders gleam on his chest. He sips coffee, scribbles prescriptions, ushering out an old man with a draft for piles. Golyadkin stumbles in, uninvited. "I'm all right." He blurts, sitting then standing, glaring with a defiant twitch. Krestian coughs, entertainment friends a bit of the bottle, pushing his cure. Golyadkin nods, I've got Petrushka theater, but falters, voice thinning. Quiet, not noise, I don't play tricks, he insists, clinging to his shell. Krestian presses, change your ways, and Golyadkin snaps, I'm no intriguer. Then crumbles, tears spilling, enemies ruin me. He rambles, slanders, a cook, a rival's rise, his voice a tangle of fear and pride. Another time, he cuts off, bolting with a manic grin, silly doctor. Krestian's left stunned, cigar drooping. Dostoevsky skewers Russia's crude fixes, gaiety for a mind buckling under strain is laughable. Golyadkin, all right, phrase fast, a threadbare shield against a tide he can't stem. Tsar Nicholas eyes Russia-bred suspicion, clerk's dodged eyes, fearing every glance. Dostoevsky knew this shame, his own clerk days echoing in Golyadkin's flush. Psychologically, it's a crack widening. Those enemies are shadows of self-doubt stalking him through Petersburg's fog. Picture him, blushing in his carriage, spilling fears to a baffled doctor, then fleeing into the mist, a man blind to his own unraveling. The city's bustle hums with mistrust, every stare a blade. This isn't just nerves, it's a plea, a clerk teetering as all right echoes hollow, fog curling around a soul starting to split. Morning spins into madness as Golyadkin hits the arcade on Nevsky Prospect, Petrushka trudging behind. At a gold and silver shop, he's a whirlwind, ordering a 1,500-ruble dinner service, a cigar case, a shaving set, extras piled high, I'll send for it. He vows, dodging payment with a sly grin. He darts to a money changer, swaps big notes for small, pocketbook bulging, glee poolsing through him. A dress shop next, yards of fabric stacked, I'll be back. Then furniture, a 6-room suite, a lady's toilet table, send for it soon. He's relentless, haggling, darting out, circling back, a man possessed by his own frantic show. By 3 p.m. he's clutching gloves and a cheap ruble-and-a-half cent, nothing else bought. Worn out, he collapses in a Nevsky restaurant, vodka, a nationalist rag, a chocolate cup he doesn't touch. Clerks spot him, scented Yakov, they jeer. He bristles, you do know me, and launches into a rant, dignity, boots, masks, his voice rising, cracking. Then he bolts, stumbling toward Ismailovsky Bridge, breath ragged. Dostoevsky paints mania here. Golyadkin spends to build a false self, a clerk desperate to prove he matters. Russia's consumer traps glittered then. Dostoevsky dodged debt too, his own frantic days mirrored in this spree. Tsar Nicholas I's world-prized appearances, Petersburg's shops were a siren call to the insecure. Psychologically, it's a manic flight, all right, a flimsy veil over dread creeping closer. Picture him, a blur of motion, buying a life he can't grasp, fleeing eyes that pierce his sham, fog thickening around him. St. Petersburg's clamor fuels his panic, every purchase a scream for worth. This isn't just shopping, it's a peak, a fragile shell swelling before it cracks, shadows lengthening as the day darkens. Golyadkin's carriage rattles toward Alsofy Ivanovich's house at Ismailovsky Bridge, his heart a drumbeat against his ribs. Sans façons, he mutters, feigning ease to steady his shaking hands. He glimpses Clara Alsofievna at a second-story window, blonde, radiant, untouchable, and kisses the air, trembling with a hope he barely dares name. Up the steps he climbs, hat off, knees wobbling like a child's, breath shallow. Alsofy Ivanovich, he asks the doorman, voice a thin thread. Not home. I'm invited, he insists, clutching at the lie. Orders say no, the man grunts. Then Gerasimich, Alsofy's old butler, steps out, his honor begs excuse. Firm, polite, final. Andrei Filipovich and Vladimir Semyonovich stride in, starring his boss and a rival, their eyes boring through him. Later, Golyadkin mumbles, fleeing down the steps, blushing crimson, forcing a smile that twists into a grimace. Rejection slices deep. Dostoevsky knew exclusion sting from his radical youth, shunned by the elite. Golyadkin's bravado masks terror. Clara's a dream slipping away, Alsofy's door a wall he can't breach. In Tsar Nicholas I's Russia, 9th-ranked nobodies didn't dine with the high seniors barred, a speck daring too much. Psychologically, it's shame's sharp, right splinters under public failure, his pride bleeding out. St. Petersburg's hierarchy locks out the low, doors slam, rank rules. Dostoevsky crafts a city where status is God, Golyadkin's a fool to knock. Picture him, kissing air to a shut window, stumbling into fog, his grin a mask for a wound gaping wide. This isn't just a snub, it's a fall, hope shatters, a clerk cast out, fog swallowing his dignity as the crack in his mind yawns wider. Snow thickens as night cloaks St. Petersburg, Golyadkin trudging across Fontanka Bridge, dazed, breath fogging in the biting chill. A figure looms through the swirl, his coat, his bald head, Golyadkin Jr., his exact double. Their eyes lock, Junior smirks, a sly twist of lips, then slips into the mist. Scoundrel, Senior spits, pulse racing, dread coiling tight. Next day, Junior's at the office, same face, but bold, charming where Senior's stiff and awkward. Andrei Filipovich greets him warmly, clerks snigger behind hands. Junior slides into Senior's desk, snatches his papers. Senior stammers, "Not me," shoved aside as Junior shines. Dostoevsky twists Gogol's surreal quirks here. Junior's no phantom, but flesh, a buried self clawing free. Russia's clerks lived this fear, replaced by sharper shadows, their lives erased. Psychologically, it's dissociation. Rejection splits Golyadkin's mind, birthing this twin from his shame. Tsar Nicholas I's world-bred rivalry. Petersburg's fog hides monsters, and Junior's one, a thief in Senior's skin. Picture him meeting his mirror in snow, desk stolen by his own face. All right, choking in his throat as the office hums with betrayal. Junior rises fast, drinking with clerks, flattering Andrei, mocking Senior with pitying grins that cut deeper than scorn. Senior's a ghost now, papers vanish, jests fly like darts. He writes Junior a letter, "Who are you? Leave," sent via Petrushka, returned unopened, a silent taunt. At home, he paces his cramped flat, "He's stealing me," clinging to all right as it slips through his fingers. Dostoevsky tightens the vice. Junior drains Senior's life, a leech in his likeness. Russia crushed the weak, Senior's meat for its jaws, a clerk fatting under his double's glare. Tsar Nicholas I's hierarchy erased the small. Petersburg's a mill grinding Golyadkin down. Psychologically, paranoia swells, every laugh a wound, every glance a threat. Picture him, pleading with his shadow in a shrinking room. All right, a desperate gasp as Junior ascends, fog pressing in like a noose. Senior corners Junior at the office, explain, voice shaking, fists clenched. Junior feigns sorrow, poor Yakov, then sneers, a cruel glint in his eye. Clerks burst into laughter. Senior retreats unseen, a wraith slinking back. Dostoevsky hints at crushed rebellion. Senior's stand collapses under mockery. Tsar Nicholas I's machine broke the defiant. Petersburg's a stage for his fall, the crowd a chorus of disdain. Psychologically, it's paranoia's peak. Enemies swarm, real or not, and all right drowns in sniggers. Picture him shouting at his reflection, laughed off, a clerk crumbling as his double stands untouchable, fog curling around a mind buckling under its own weight. Senior lurks outside Alsafai's house, lights glow warm, Junior's inside, laughing, soaked in snow he raves, "He's me," voice wild until Gerasimich ejects him firm and cold. Colleagues pass, pity in their eyes, he's a specter now unseen, unwanted. Dostoevsky jabs at elite scorn, Senior's an outcast, a fool in the rain. Tsar Nicholas I's world shunned the fallen, Petersburg's chill locks him out. Psychologically, it's delusion, Junior's the id unleashed, bold where Senior cowers. Picture him peering through wet glass, tossed into fog, all right a sob as the city turns its back, a clerk fading into shadow. Senior storms his excellency's flat, "Save me," breathless, wild-eyed. Junior's there, smirking, papers in hand, cozy with Andrei. His Excellency dismisses Senior with a glance. Junior gloats. Dostoevsky shows czarist weight, power crushes pleas, rank decides all. Tsar Nicholas I's might left no room for the weak. Petersburg's a wall to Golyadkin's cry. Psychologically, it's despair, all right fails, a hollow echo as hope dies. Picture him begging, shoved by his twin, fog closing tight, a clerk lost to a system that doesn't care. Senior haunts Alsafai's window, Clara, a hut, madness blooming in frantic whispers. Junior drags him inside, the party stares as he babbles, words tumbling over tears. Dostoevsky mocks delusions, Senior's mind frays, a broken man on display. Tsar Nicholas I's elite sneered at dreamers, Petersburg's a cage, its laughter a whip. Psychologically, reality warps, all right wails, a chant from a shattered soul. Picture him dreaming of escape, scorned by all, trapped by his double, fog his only refuge. Senior's paraded before the party, Alsafai nods gravely, Clara pales, Junior gloats. No enemies, he insists, dread seeping through his calm. Dostoevsky's crowd suffocates, eyes bore, whispers hiss. Tsar Nicholas I's society judged without mercy, Petersburg's a vice tightening. Psychologically, it's false calm, all right teeters, a mask over panic. Picture him pitied, sensing doom, fog pressing in, a clerk cornered by his own unraveling. Senior faces the party, Alsafai stern, Junior hands him to Crestian, now a grim figure. A carriage waits, Junior skips off free. Dostoevsky shifts Crestian to jailer, authority claims its prize. Tsar Nicholas I's asylums loomed for the broken, Petersburg's endgame. Psychologically, its surrender, all right fades, a whisper lost. Picture him taken, twin gone, fog swallowing a clerk who's nothing left to fight. Snow glints as the carriage rolls from Alsafai's, wheels crunching ice into the night. Crestian sits opposite, eyes blazing terrible. They hiss through the dark. I'm all right, Senior quavers, clutching his soaked coat. No quarters, no wood, no light, you deserve none, Crestian thunders, a judge's sentence. Senior shrieks, sharp and wild, then faints, slumping as the road twists into unknown fog. Dostoevsky ends in shadow, madness, asylum, Junior's triumph. Russia's cells devoured the lost. Petersburg's fog is both womb and tomb. Picture him carted into darkness, eyes wild before they close, a scream fatting into an abyss he can't name, a man undone by his own reflection, fog his final shroud. Reflections in the mist. Doubles a cracked mirror, identity, rank, sanity twisted beyond repair. Golyadkin's split is Dostoevsky's own dreamer warring with outcast. It's 1846, pre-crime and punishment, but the seeds are here. Alienation, the weak crushed underfoot. Gogol's oddity fuses with Kafka's dread, Junior's senior's shadow unleashed by a city that grinds souls to dust. Psychologically, it's pre-Freud, repression bursts into a double that devours. Echoes ripple into Kafka's trials, Fight Club's chaos. What's your all right, your Junior lurking? In 2025, identity's a battlefield, stare it down. Golyadkin fell into fog and fire, you don't have to. Listen close, this is your warning.